Well. Welcome back. Welcome back, good learners. My name is Fresh Sherlock, and I'm here with The Fathers of Nations, a novel by Paul B. Vita, one of the contemporary texts that really a very interesting text. Even as you're going to go through it, you realize that it really covers the things that are affecting the current day uh, living. And we've been really looking at very many aspects, and this is one of it. In this particular episode, we're going to look at the theme of tribalism and nepotism. This is still Liberty Media, the rebranded Liberty Media class. And in case you're coming across this work, it's your first time, you bumped across it accidentally, or a good friend of yours did refer you to this particular channel, how about a thumbs up, a subscription, a liking, and of course a sharing with good friends, and especially those ones that you know this work is with your very great significance rather. And without that much further ado, as usual, let's dive into it. It's the theme of tribalism and nepotism. Straight away into it. Tribalism, first of all, and nepotism arrive in African leadership and politics, with the colonial masters walking away with the racism. The fathers of nations in the new independent Africa walked in with tribalism and nepotism. Despite, we are citing evidence from the text that support this, despite Comrade Ngobile Melusi helping the ruler in his home country, Zimbabwe, fight the common enemy, the white man, that is the ruler, forgets him at the time of distributing the national cake. That is metaphorically used there. It means that the goodies, or maybe the parts of that, or a recognition that he really did take part in the fight of the whites. And then he only considers his Shona tribesmen for appointment to plumb positions in his government. He does not appoint Comrade Melusi as a minister, and when he does not appoint the leader, forgive me, good learners, right there, my slides are in a rush. Yeah, the last paragraph there, he does not appoint Comrade Melusi as a minister, and when he does not appoint the leader of Melusi's tribe, that is the Ndebele, protests erupt in the south, where the Ndebeles live. Ziliza, Comrade Melusi's wife, is killed in the course of this brutal attack. Now, Dr. Afolabi's marriage breaks because Femi, his cousin, has been sent to bring another woman, a Yoruba like themselves, to get married to Dr. Afolabi. So, to the Yoruba, their son, Dr. Afolabi, will secure his family by following the wishes of his family. This annoys Pamela, who, after insisting the girl should leave, finally divorces Dr. Afolabi. The theme of suffering, oppression, and of course that of death. Sorry. The theme of suffering comes out evidently in the text, and we're going not to shy off from maybe mentioning something small about it. Suffering, oppression, and death. Suffering occurs, and death rather, there should be a comma there. Suffering occurs at different levels, psychologically, physically, and emotionally. The majority of the novel's sufferings are psychological and emotional in nature. Many characters have undergone harrowing experiences that have brought them untold suffering. Professor Kimani loses his daughter in a road accident. He also loses his wife, Asia, to his former colleague at the university, becoming a member of parliament. The loss of a wife causes him to clash with the newborn Wolomu. He is arrested as a result of the fight, and assault charges are filed against him. He is jailed for 6 months, and a demotion follows thereafter. All these contribute to a dejected man, which brings a lot of psychological and emotional suffering. He is a disturbed man. When Tad Longway comes along and proposes Path Alpha, he really accepts for he finds solace in the whole thing. After being rejected by Miss Rahma Mahmood, Engineer Tahir avenges himself by slapping her, something that she does not take lying down. And she retaliates, of course, and throws something at him that gets to his eye and slits it. In revenge, Engineer Tahir goes to court to seek justice, and the court rules based on Arabic law, which calls for goring or gouging out her eye in return. Because of the psychological suffering he undergoes, Tahir leaves Tripoli for Benghazi. Comrade Ngobile Melusi undergoes psychological trauma too after helping the ruler. He is left to languish in poverty and is not appointed a minister. When the Ndebele leader fails to appear for an appointment, the Ndebele inhabited southern part of the country protests and riots. Property and lives are lost. Ziliza, who is Melusi's wife, dies in the exchange. When his economic status changes and he is forced to go and stay in the slums, which are later flattened to create way for roads. All these eat at the nerves of Comrade Ngobile Melusi. Pastor Chineke Chemaka is arrested following his contentious sermon. He is later released and given conditions, one of which is not to preach, which is extremely difficult to live by. The African leaders, quote-unquote fathers of nations, are the oppressors. They expose the common citizens to untold suffering. The four men are good narrators of this assertion. After falling out with the fathers of nations, Professor Kimani does what next? Professor Kimani, Pastor Chamaka, Comrade Melusi, and the heavy and long arm of the Melusi and Engineer Tahir's government meet them and do not give them room to express themselves. They have to be organized by an outside force to seek an alternative to the status quo by advocating for Path Alpha, a new strategy and discourse as opposed to Way Omega. Apart from the physical deaths of Tuni, Ziliza, and many others, there is also the death of vision. The fathers of nations have no vision for the continent or direction for their countries. The discussion at the summit is jerky and disorganized. There is also the death of the vision of our founding fathers. The vision was to fight ignorance, disease, and poverty. Several years after independence, the continent is still wallowing in a miasma of confusion and, of course, stagnation. Quickly, let's look at change or transition, the theme of change. Change has always been inevitable, or as the saying goes, change is inevitable. Yes. Saying that is a cliche. No statement has ever been more true. Change in the fathers of nations has been realized as two levels, physical and ideological. Physically, the four men drawn from the four corners of the African continent have undergone evolution and tremendous change. Professor Kimani, after undergoing the humiliations at the hands of newborn Olomo and the government operatives, is a totally different man. Comrade Melusi's experience at the hands of the ruler of his country leaves him a bitter man. Engineer Tahir is also a depressed man, courtesy of his endeavors with Miss Rahma Mahmood and the lack of support for Feast of Allah. Meanwhile, Pastor Chamaka is transformed after being involved in an accident into a very powerful pastor. Ideologically, the wind of change has swept across Africa. Although the fathers of nations are scheduled to deliberate on Way Omega while at the summit, Path Alpha surprisingly finds its way on the agenda of the summit, and again, against all odds, this is a strategy that goes through and is adapted. In the new strategy, Professor Kimani, Pastor Chamaka, Comrade Melusi, and Engineer Tahir are hopeful that most of the challenges that they are facing as a continent will be a thing of the past. Good learners. That again marks the end of those particular three consecutive themes that we've talked about. We talked about previously change or transition. You might as well as want to go through that particular work with due diligence so that you don't miss a thing. We've also looked at what was that. We have also looked at previously here. Let me go back quickly, and that is suffering right there. Good learners, I hope that you're following through with me. We have suffering, oppression, and death, and at the very beginning, we're talking about tribal and nepotism. Those are three successful themes that successfully we've achieved to maybe pinpoint and put them down. Any further, maybe let's say for example, any further in maybe into deep diving over the same, you might as well as want maybe to check on our new platform, because I'm coming with that blog. Then I'll be posting this work as the PDF, so that whenever you want to have your work in the PDF, you can always check through my blog page that I'm yet to create, and then it will really guide you through, even as you are looking, or even as you're sojourning into this particular uncharted territories. I'd like to wind at this particular point, but again, I want to remind you that a thumbs up will do me good, a sharing with good friends, especially those ones who are maybe following and having this particular work at their hand. And of course, a nice soothing comment down there in the comment section will make me continue doing what I'm exactly doing. Cheers for now. Till we meet next.